Bitcoin's 4-year cycle is broken, and the New York Stock Exchange just installed a Satoshi Nakamoto statue. Crypto isn't just evolving, it's rewriting financial history right in front of us. Let's dive in. So I'm right into it here. Bitcoin's 4-year cycle is officially broken. Bernstein, ARK Investments, and also Grayscale agree. So taking a look here at this article, investment giant Bernstein believes Bitcoin will print new all-time highs next year, breaking out an historic pattern. So the first time ever, major institutions are publicly saying the 4-year cycle, the 4-year Bitcoin cycle is over. Bernstein is making major predictions because of this. And this goes along with what we have been talking about when you have to look at the market sentiment. You have to look at how market conditions have changed, and it's not just retail anymore. Bernstein is saying that Bitcoin is now in an elongated bull market driven by sticky institutional demand. That's what we're seeing with these ETFs. That's what we're seeing with governments and large institutions building a stockpile of Bitcoin. So despite the brutal 30% correction, they are unfazed. So you see this correction point here from the all-time high, right? We've been pulling back ever since. Now we're at that decision zone, and like institutions are not panicking. They're not panicking at all. And despite that, when you look at the numbers, ETF outflows were less than 5%, proving that institutions did not panic. They simply raised their targets. So we see this article, right? But what's really interesting in this is that Cathie Wood agrees as well, because she's saying institutional adoption will smooth out the old bottom and crash out pattern. Like pretty much saying that the 4-year cycle is gone. Bitcoin dropping 75 to 90% is a thing of the past, is what she's saying. So the volatility that we used to see, and there is some predictions out there that say Bitcoin is going to go back down to 20,000. Even some people like Peter Schiff are saying zero. It's going to zero still. But most people, including Grayscale, are saying that 2026 is the next massive surge year. So they have all the analytics to prove this, right? They've done the homework. And I guess the question is, like, what if you're wrong? Like, what if, not if they're wrong, but what if you're wrong? Like, what's the worst that can happen? The worst that can happen, in my opinion, is you miss out on the opportunity. It's like all upside. Most of us are not multi-millionaires. Like, most of us aren't billionaires like Mark Cuban, who can afford to come in late. I say that all the time. These guys that you're hearing about that your parents or your grandparents are saying, I heard Warren say that he's not touching it, so I'm not touching it either. We see Bitcoin transitioning from that speculative asset to a macro asset class with multi-year upsides. This is what we're seeing. We're seeing adoption take place, and we're seeing billionaires who have once said, nah, I'm skipping the Bitcoin thing, I'm not touching it, change their mind and able to buy a whole bunch at 50K, right? Can you afford to miss out on an opportunity that's at 3,000, right? And now it's at 100,000. That is the question at hand. You guys know our TA. You see where we're at. I agree with them. I think that the 4-year cycle is over. I think the 4-year may turn into a 4 or 6-year cycle. I think there's a lot of things going on macro level that are pretty much influencing prices right now, right? We have inflation globally. You have Japan dealing with their interest rate. The Bank of Japan dealing with what they're dealing with, right? There's a ton going on. And I think the opportunity is, and I think it really takes a shakeout. The opportunity's here, but I think it takes a shakeout. I think it takes people to lose hope. Like now, there's people that left the crypto markets and they lose hope, and they're going to miss out. It happens every time, because it's never when you think. It's never when you think. We're in 2025 now. I remember a guy was saying, I forget his name. I remember he was saying Bitcoin 500K by 2025, right? And it's almost like price predictions are wrong. It's almost like I stepped away from like doing, I just go off a TA. This could happen if then scenarios, because if you go by dates and by this time, by this year, it's most people are wrong. I haven't seen too many people right. Right. Outside of seeing people predict drops correctly, but I haven't seen people predict upside correctly. There's always been something that happens that would prevent that from occurring, right? And when the bull market's there, everyone's saying, okay, this by this price and all this stuff, and then it went to like 77K. I think it was about 69K, 70K, pulled all the way back to about 18, right? Huge pullback, right? So I remember the person that said it as well. It was Tim Draper. Look up Tim Draper price predictions. He was calling for 500K by like 2025, and everyone was like, oh my goodness, you know, it's buying up as much Bitcoin as possible, shoots up to about 69, then says, this is it, we're going to 100. Then Bitcoin pulls all the way back to 18,000. And that 18,000 point was the point of almost like, I don't want to say no return because we pulled back, but psychologically people viewed it as the point of no return. It was crazy. Absolutely insane. We can actually go back in the charts and see that it was insane. Like, go to higher time frames and you look back, you see that drop. It was like, wow. And it was it wasn't that long. It was okay from November peak 69K, pulled all the way back by December, by the next year, we were back to 16K, 69 to 16K from November 2021 to August of 22, less than a year. Crazy. So when I see people losing faith, when I see people talking about what can't happen, that's kind of what I want to see. That is exactly what I want to see, because that's when it always happens. It never happens when you think it will. That's kind of what I've noticed about the crypto space so far. It's not when you think it should. It's not when everything's looking bullish. It's not when President Trump wins the election. It doesn't happen that way, right? It should, but that'll almost just be too easy, right? Almost be too easy. Next up, we have Norway. Just paused its CBDC. And what they're saying is this is a huge signal for crypto global payment systems. Central Norway Bank says CBDC is not warranted, cites strong payment systems. So after years of testing, Norway Central Bank is pretty much going against CBDC, which is good, Their existing payment rails are already secure, efficient, and low cost. And what they're saying here is retail and wholesale CBDCs both shelved for now. And the reason why this matters is Norway's highly digital economy. They don't need a CBDC yet. Others may hesitate too, because they're seeing that it's not all crapped up as what they thought it would be. Central banks are realizing that there's no clear standards, no mature infrastructure, and uncertain benefits. They're seeing it. Norway is still keeping the door open, but wants to clarify that they want that clarity before committing. So from a global context, they're saying that the digital euro won't come until 2029 at the earliest. So some countries are taking their time. Some nations are pumping the brakes, waiting to see real value before rollout. That sounds almost Cardano-like, right? So I think this is good. I think this opens more room for public blockchain solutions and open crypto networks versus people just rushing to the finish line and messing up. Like, that's typically what's going to happen. They're just going to rush and mess up. And then all of a sudden they're going to essentially have to re-roll out, make corrections, and it's a big deal. So I'd like to see people taking their time. I think 2029 is a bit steep. I think that's a bit long. So we'll see. Norway's already ahead digitally already. So we'll see how they pivot for sure. But definitely love to see people pivoting from a CBDC for sure. Because I think they're seeing that there's other networks, there's other solutions versus control, which is typically what CBDCs are going to do for sure. Next up, the New York Stock Exchange statue lands on the New York. So next up, we have the New York Stock Exchange making headlines. Satoshi Nakamoto statue just landed at the New York Stock Exchange. This is historic because Wall Street, if you guys know, was once anti-crypto. Literally putting Satoshi Nakamoto on display is huge. Satoshi Nakamoto on display is a big deal. Installed at the New York Stock Exchange by 21 Capital. And so it's 6 in a global series of 21 statues. Why 21? Of course, guys, you know, 21 because there's only 21 million Bitcoin ever. So New York Stock Exchange called it shared ground between emerging systems and established institutions. But this is the same institution that once rejected Bitcoin ETFs. But now we're seeing a shift. Now we have ETFs approved. We have institutions buying. We have Wall Street firms trading Bitcoin and Satoshi standing right at their doorsteps. Big. It's almost like unbelievable, because coming from where we came from with crypto, when it was labeled scam, don't touch it, not going to be around, to now having this. Crazy. Statue represents Bitcoin moving from outsider to mainstream. Public and private companies, nations, ETFs now hold 3.7 million Bitcoin. The message is loud right here. Bitcoin is no longer a fringe idea. It's financial history cemented in real time, guys. This is what we're seeing. This is the shift, the pivot that you're seeing right before your eyes. This is huge. This is huge. So love to see this, guys. Can't wait to go see this as well. Very excited to be a part of history, guys. So Bitcoin cycle is evolving. We see this. This is why as well people are taking the stance that the 4-year cycle may in fact be over with this adoption that we're seeing, with this embrace in crypto, with this embrace in Bitcoin. You have Wall Street accepting crypto. You have CBDCs that were once hyped as the future, now facing real challenges with adoption, because companies are like, okay, I don't know if we want to go down this route. So this isn't just a market shift. This isn't a market shift. This is the entire global financial system resetting itself. So you have an opportunity to be a part of this crypto infrastructure and ultimately position yourself and your family to be a part of history. Hope you guys got some value out of this video. Keep moving forward in everything that you do. We'll see you soon.